Hello from Intellipaat. The topic for today is Big Data Developer Career Path, Job Opportunities, and Interview Preparation. So, today we are going to be discussing why you can choose big data as a career option, the learning path that is involved with big data technologies, the job profiles that are associated with big data, resume building, how you can build your resume up for a job in big data field, the sample interview questions, some questions that are usually asked in big data job profile interviews, and how can you get started with all of this. So we'll discuss all of that. Let's begin. Why choose big data as a career option? So there are a lot of fields in which you can expand your career in, but why should you choose big data? The answer for that is quite simple. Data is the most valuable commodity in today's world. All successful companies like Amazon, Facebook, Google, all of these companies keep their commercial data hidden. It is a secret, it is confidential, and it is quite frankly the key to their success. If somebody external gets their hands on that data, they could replicate their success formula. But why is that? Why is data such a commodity? The answer for that is quite simple as well. We create multiple accounts on these websites like Amazon and Facebook, millions of users every day generating terabytes and terabytes to petabytes of data every day. So data is being generated in a fast and continuous manner, which means on an everyday basis. And the data is extremely large in nature as well. Like I said, petabytes at times, the data could be extremely large. So the companies on which these users are creating their accounts on, performing these transactions upon, the company has two choices. Either they could keep the data as it is, discard the data, or use that data for their own commercial success. So that is what data analytics essentially is. And when the data is extremely fast and continuous in nature, it's being constantly generated, and the data is extremely large in nature as well, coming from various sources, then that data is termed as big data. And the terminology we use to define the analytics of big data is big data analytics. So if we look at the trends on Google Trends, if we look at the search term data analytics, we can see that since 2004, there has been a gradual increase in the number of times this particular term has been searched. This indicates the increase in popularity in today's day and age of the term data analytics and the field and domain in general. So there was an article by Gartner which said by 2020, augmented analytics, which is a subfield of data analytics, will be the dominant drivers of new purchases of analytics and business intelligence. And we can see the left hand side, the top 10 technology trends in data and analytics. So it involves a lot of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Because naturally, when you have a large amount of data available to you, you can create a lot of models. You can increase the accuracy of your machine learning models. You can increase the efficiency of your artificially intelligent systems. And this is precisely why data is so valuable. Once you've accumulated the data, once you've collected the data, there are a lot of branches you can go about. You can go into machine learning, you can go into artificial intelligence, you can just be doing simple data analytics, you can go into data science, you can go into data visualization. There are a lot of fields and scopes available to you once you've collected the data. So business intelligence is mandatory for commercial success, and especially in today's world where every company is going online. If you want to compete with these companies who are going online and using these technologies like data analytics, like data science, like machine learning and artificial intelligence, if you want to compete with them, you have to come on the same platform as well. And what is business intelligence? It is simply a branch that arises out of the data analytics domain. Then competitive customer satisfaction is driven by analytics as well. So this is especially true, for example, for e-commerce companies like Amazon. The reason Amazon is at the top of the food chain today and not eBay or any other company or any other e-commerce organization is because Amazon uses its customer data, Amazon uses its transactional data in the most efficient way possible, in the most profitable way possible. They've created the best models, the best recommendation engines, the best customer service, the customer experience that they provide. So all of these things have attributed essentially to their immense success today. And customers are naturally driven to better experiences since Amazon provides them that experience. That is why Amazon is at the top today. Then large amounts of data. So the big data part of it comes when we're dealing with extremely large amounts of continuous data. So that comes under big data analytics, yet another branch of data analytics that we're discussing about today. And organizations like Facebook, like Amazon, like Google, the data that they generate is in such a large amount that it definitely qualifies for a big data case as well. And then the optional artificial intelligence and machine learning. So once you've created your models, once you've extracted the data, collected and cleaned it, then you can implement artificial intelligence and machine learning on it. It's not the most widely adopted tool today. A lot of companies are getting into it by seeing the success that it brings to other organizations. So these are fields that are arising out of data analytics that can be expanded upon once you get proficient in normal data analytics. And once you're able to create successful AI ML models out of this data, there is no doubt about it, you will be able to arrive at your output at a much faster and much more accurate way. So here are some major organizations that use big data analytics today. So Google, Bank of America, Tesla, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Facebook, IBM, so all of the big corporations, these big companies, they are successful today, and they're successful exactly because they've kept up with the times and they've implemented big data, they've implemented data science, and they've implemented AI and ML in their workflows. And make no mistake about it, these organizations are continuously looking for talent. And that brings me to the average salary of a big data developer. So in the United States, the average salary is about $107,000. In India, it's about 10 lakhs per annum. And in the UK, it's about 67,000 pounds per annum. So that is a lot for an average worker in the big data developer industry. So that competes with a lot of popular fields today. But that's not it. The reason why this amount of salary is lucrative is because this field is ever evolving. This field is the future. Data analytics, data science, and AI ML are the future technologies. And these technologies are going to stay. So if you learn these technologies, you will be able to be viable in the market for a much larger time. And that in turn brings me to the importance of a certification. So a certification is a stamp of excellence. So it basically says to the employer that you've completed a course in the set amount of time with the set required amount of percentage or grade, whatever the course is offering you. So that naturally helps you get hired because the company now knows that you can be vouched for, that you've actually had some experience because you've been certified. There's also a substantial increase in pay if you're looking to expand or change your job profile. If you're coming from a simple data analytics role, if you're coming from a simple relational database role and you want to expand your role to a big data analytics expert, so there is a substantial increase in pay because those two fields are vastly different. And you have clear corporate requirements. So because these fields are so lucrative, they obviously want the best talent because there is a lot of talent out there in the world. So they've set their requirements at a set standard, and you need to succeed in those standards to be hired in those organizations. So what helps in that? Knowledge plus projects. And the certification basically tells the employer that you have both of those. So let us look at the learning path that is involved in this particular technology. So if you're getting into big data, if you're getting into data analytics in general, firstly, you need to have a basic and minimum understanding. So I'm emphasizing on the word minimum because that's all you need. Basics of mathematics and statistics, like averages, like graphs, how to read graphs, and all of those things. You need to understand just a little bit of that. And then basic programming. So if you're getting into big data, then you need to know some programming. A basic amount would do. You don't need to know a lot. You need to be accustomed with database technologies like MySQL and NoSQL and all of these other relational database tools. So you can get proficient at one of those, and that would suffice. And then we have the big data technologies. So in order to implement data analytics in a big data environment, you need to be accustomed with the big data architecture, and those are essentially your big data technologies. And then once you've understood how the data analysis works, how the data collection, cleaning, and processing works, then you need to be able to present your information, your insights to higher management to in presentations. So for that, you need to have really good data visualization tools. So there are tools for that available as well, inbuilt in the technologies that you would be working with in big data. And then let us look at the job profiles. Now that we've looked at the learning path, let us look at some of the job profiles, example sample job profiles that are available for you to apply in the field of big data. So this is the summary of what would be asked of you in a big data role. So the first point is the usage of advanced computerized models for data extraction. So when you have raw data, you need to be able to extract that data and be able to implement it in your tools. So you would be using some advanced computerized models for that. And that is exactly what is taught to you and what you learn when you start getting into big data. So the first step is data extraction. Then you need to be well aware with the cleaning of data, because the data will have inconsistencies. The data will not be accurate always. The data will have missing values. So you need to be able to deal with that. And that comes under the art of cleaning of data. And then the art of analysis comes in. So you have to analyze the quality of data. You have to analyze whether the data holds true for every condition or not, and whether the data is usable. So that process of analysis is called the quality assessment. That is also a step involved in big data. And then you have to further analyze that data to extract some meaning out of it, or just to extract whether the data would have meaning when the models are created or not. So further analysis is required for that. And then the final analysis comes in where you've confirmed that the data has meaning. So you need to see whether the data fits accurately to the model that you've created or not. So that is done via creating some testing models and some training models. You do that, you create your models, and then you see whether there's a fitting, there's a match involved in that to determine whether your analysis is correct. And then whatever you've determined, you need to prepare reports for it. So you need to have good communication, and you need to be able to visualize that results, those insights that you've derived from your data, to upper management. So data visualizations comes in there. So the typical sectors where there's big data is used is banking, software development, consultancy, telecom, social media, very obvious use case, social media, academic, and pharmaceutical. So these organizations that are in these domains, they are generating a lot of data, and they need to be able to perform these analysis on that data to be able to have some viable insights in their user bases, in the work that they do, in the jobs that they are doing. So if we look at Spotify's big data analyst job profile, we can see that you need to be able to scope and solve loosely defined problems. So the problem statements will not be very specifically designed to you. Upper management will just instruct you with a set of guidelines as to what you have to do. And you need to be able to innovate and get to the solution yourself. You need to have deep understanding of statistics. So once you are familiar with the field of big data, once you are experienced with it, you naturally develop the deep understanding that you need to develop in statistics when you're dealing with big data. And you need to be able to understand real world data, because that's what you're going to be dealing with. You need to have the technical competence to perform advanced analytics with tools such as Python or Scala, and tools such as Pandas or SQL as well. And the experience should be with large data sets, because naturally you're dealing with the field of big data. So you need to have that experience with extremely large data sets. You need to possess the statistical competence such as regression modeling, alpha beta testing, and significance testing. So those are some additional requirements that you would gain as you go along in the field. And you need to have some demonstrated experience for that, for those talents like statistical modeling. And if you're dwelling further into the field of big data analytics, as you move further into the career, then you need to possess a certain amount of knowledge about machine learning, so that you're able to expand your insights into something that is much more efficient and accurate. Then we can also look at Nike. And the responsibilities that are involved with Nike include the use of contemporary data science and analytics methods to derive actionable business insights. So Nike has a extremely large customer base, and you need to be able to use that data in order to derive some business insights as to which products might be a tad more popular than the other products, and which products are not selling, and all of those things. So the queries get complex, but you get the idea. Master big data fundamentals, gather, clean, and validate large amounts of data on Nike's cloud platform. So you would be provided with a platform where you would be able to implement all of your big data knowledge, create foundational pipelines and repeatable production queries in the data warehouse that Nike provides to you to analyze these large data sets. So Nike will have this data, and you need to be able to data warehouse that data and perform your queries on it to basically solve Nike's use case. Develop process and continuous improvement of core projects through automation and process enhancements. So there would be some automation involved with your process, and creates the reports and visualizations. So in order to show upper management and the marketing campaigns, in order to improve the marketing campaigns that Nike has, you need to be able to sum up all of your insights, wrap it up nicely with a bow, and be able to visualize it in front of upper management. So let us look at the resume building part of big data as to what skills and what projects you need to accumulate under your resume in order to land the perfect big data job. So there are 4 key skills that you need to be proficient in, that you need to have on your resume as proof for employers to be comfortable in hiring you. So the first is data querying. So you need to be comfortable with the data given to you. You need to be comfortable with technologies such as MySQL. You need to be comfortable with Excel documents. You need to be aware of how to implement NoSQL data as well, which are JSON files. So you need to be able to query that data. You need to be able to understand how relational database management systems work, and how SQL commands work, and how NoSQL commands work. And then the other factor comes in, which is the data analysis part of things. So this is where your coding knowledge especially comes in. You need to be able to analyze the data. So proficiency in one of these languages, you can be proficient in Python or R or Scala, because these are the common data analytics languages used around the world. And then you need to be familiar with the big data architecture. So technologies such as Hadoop, Apache Spark. So you need to be familiar, because you're not dealing with simple small amounts of data. You're dealing with extremely large amounts of data. And big data architectures are architectures that can deal with the storing and processing of those large amounts of data. So technologies like Hadoop and Spark do exactly that. So you need to be aware of how they work and how you are implementing them in your solution. And then eventually data visualization. So the tools for data visualization are essentially available in Python, Scala, and R. The libraries for big data architectures and how to combine them with data visualization are available in Hadoop and Apache Spark as well. So you need to be able to present your data as well as part of your job role. So these are 4 domains in which the more experience that you have, the better it is for you, the higher the chances you have of landing a good salary and a better job in a big data analytics field. So these 4 technologies, these 4 domains, you need to be aware of, and you need to have some experience in your resume. Now, let us look at some basic sample interview questions that are asked of you when you're in a big data analytics job interview. So some of the common questions, these are general questions, these are not very technical questions, but technical questions are asked. So you need to be aware of those as well. So that only happens once you get familiar with the field. But in theoretical side of things, what are the 5 V's of big data? So as we were discussing before, velocity, veracity, volume, and all of these things account for the 5 V's of big data. How is big data analysis helpful in increasing the business revenue? So this is a question that organizations can ask you, because that is essentially your job role, right? You need to be able to analyze data and increase your organization's profits. So they need to know, how would you go about that? How would you transform unstructured data into structured data? So this comes under data cleaning. You need to be really proficient at this skill to be a good data analytics expert. Which hardware configuration is the most beneficial for Hadoop jobs? So Hadoop is the technology that is used in big data architecture. So what sort of hardware configuration is the most efficient? This is basically to gather whether you have experience in the particular field and how you went about your solutions and how you solved your problems in the past. So this is to gather that. And what happens when 2 users try to access the same file in the HDFS. So this is on the more technical side of things as to the specifics of what you've done. So these are some of the sample interview questions that you would get in a big data job interview. So now we know the career opportunities that you have. Now we know some sample interview questions, the career path, the learning path that is involved in big data. So it might be a lot to digest. So how do you get started with it? Where do you start? So there are ways you can go online. Our website, Intellipaat.com, we've started up our community pages. So we talk about these things on the regular. We post blogs about them. The technologies like Hadoop and Spark, you can check them out. You can check them out on other online resources as well. And then there's our YouTube channel. We are continuously posting content related to various technologies, which include big data. So you can look into that as well. But in order for you to gain the knowledge that you precisely need in a very structured format, in a way that you would retain the maximum, you should definitely opt for a course. If you're legitimately interested in increasing your pay scale, if you're legitimately interested in changing your job profile or improving your job profile, you need to be able to gather this knowledge in a much more organized and structured format. So let me tell you how Intellipaat can help you with that. If you simply hop on to Intellipaat.com, go over to the search bar and search for big data. Press enter, and the first result that comes in, which is the Big Data Hadoop certification training, is our most popular training certification program for big data technologies. So this includes Spark and Hadoop, both of them. So both of the technologies are covered in this: Hadoop for the basics and Spark for today's world. So all of these technologies are covered in that. You'll also get to learn MapReduce, Hive, Pig, Scoop, Uzi, Flume, and you also get to work with Amazon EC2 instances. So you also get to work in a cloud setup for big data. And let us look at some of the key features that are provided alongside the course. So 60 hours worth of instructor-led training. So you would be seated in live online classes. You can ask the instructor who's teaching you live any doubts that accumulate over the period of the lesson. And then if the instructor is not going according to your pace, whether too fast or too slow, you have a video bank worth 85 hours. So you can watch these videos at your own pace, accumulate the doubts, and then ask the instructor, or the technical support that we provide to you can ask us, and we would be able to resolve your doubts. And then there's 120 hours worth of project work and exercises. So the employer looks for hands-on experience, so we provide you with that. We provide you with 120 hours worth of project work and exercises. Then there's certification and job assistance. So once you've completed the course, we would be able to provide you with job assistance. And depending on the performance in your interview, you might be able to land your dream big data job. Flexible schedule. So if your schedule on certain days does not match with the instructor's schedule, that will not be an issue, because you will be seated in another batch, but you will not miss out on the live lesson. There's a lifetime free upgrade that is provided to you. So if there is a significant upgrade or update in the technologies that you're learning and our course material is not up to date, our course material will be updated and you will be provided the new material absolutely free of cost. Alongside the course, you also get free Java and Linux courses, which are prerequisites for this particular Big Data Hadoop certification training course. And this course is in collaboration with IBM. There is also 24/7 lifetime support and access. So if you have any doubts, technical or non-technical, you can contact our support team anytime throughout your learning experience. So these are the technologies that you would learn, as we had already discussed: Flume, Zookeeper, HBase, and then in Spark SQL streaming, data frames, RDD, Graph, mlib, and all of these, how to write Spark applications. Then we can see who can take up this big data online training. So if you're a programming developer or a system administrator, experienced working professionals and project managers, big data Hadoop developers eager to learn other verticals like testing, analytics, and administrator, because these are also modules that are included with this course. Mainframe professionals like architects and testing professionals, business intelligence background, data warehousing, or analytics professionals. And if you're simply a graduate or an undergraduate who's eager to learn big data. Prerequisites for this particular course are absolutely none, although SQL and Java knowledge would be good. And at Intellipaat, we provide you with a free Unix and Java course, so that will not be an issue if you're not accustomed to that. And there are also reasons that you can come and check as to why you should go for this particular course training. So there are also reasons. Their average salaries are mentioned at the bottom for various roles, for the developer, admin, and architect. And then if you want to look at the syllabus in detail, you can look at that as well. You can download the detailed curriculum or look at it from our website. And additionally, you can look at what projects you would be doing in the duration of this course. So by clicking on view more, you can look at all of these projects in detail. And especially for our YouTube audiences watching us here today, you can use the coupon code YouTube30 to get a flat 30% discount on not just our big data courses. You can get them on every course available on our website. So if you're genuinely interested in taking up a course, you can use this code and you'll get a flat 30% discount. So that brings us to the end of the session. Be sure you sign up for our webinar, the link for which has been provided in the YouTube chat box, to be able to ask more details personally, and our support team will respond to you with regards to your queries. And you can contact us on the following contact details. In order to know more about our courses, you can consult our course advisors with the following contact details. If you're looking to get enrolled in a course, but you are not sure as to what you should get enrolled in. So that is about it. Be sure to sign up for the webinar. And that's it. See you again next time.